Hello everyone, this is Dr. Jaden. Welcome to E-Ming Medicine. Today we will discuss about three major factors in reading Bazi. Part 1, Daily Master and Dominant Energy. To read one's Bazi chart, first, we need to know at least three most basic, but the most major factors. The first factor is Daily Master, which can be described as a true myself. And all the chart readings are mostly interpreted based on the Daily Master as a central aspect. The second factor is the Dominant Energy, which is the strongest 5 elements in the chart that continuously influences on the Daily Master. It is important to understand what the tendency of the Daily Master's personality and behavior are. And the last thing we want to know is Yongxin. Yongxin is the most preferable energy among the 5 elements, which can make one's chart in a balanced state. Yongxin can be determined based on the relationship between the Daily Master and the Dominant Energy. Let's talk about Daily Master in detail. As we discussed last time, Daily Master is another name of Daily Stem. It is a person who governs the whole chart as a true myself. In the classics of Bazi, the yearly pillar is described as the root, which becomes a foundation of the chart. It is the place of our ancestor, grandparents, which are the foundation of our being. The monthly pillar is described as the sprout, which becomes a guideline. Usually it is interpreted as the place of our parents, including our growth environment. The daily pillar is described as the flower, which becomes a governor of the chart. It is interpreted as the place of I and my husband or wife, who becomes governors in my generation. The hourly pillar is described as the fruit, which becomes an assistant. It is usually interpreted as the position of my children and offspring. If we think about time frame, the year and the month can be the past, and the hour could be the future, which is relatively more advanced state that comes from myself, which is the Daily Master. So Daily Master is in the middle between the past and the future. As a governor of the chart, about 50% of the personality is based on the Daily Master. Let's say the Daily Master of this chart is Jia wood, which is yang wood. Wood is the energy of the spring, which has the force that all the plants are able to start growing, and the energy that can transition from the coldness of the winter to the warmness. As the first character in 10 heavenly stems, it has a pure initiating force that can start the new year. So if someone has Jia wood as the Daily Master, that person has a pure and warm initiating force with a lot of motivation. Because of those qualities and the position as the first, those people are born as natural leaders who can make things happen, who can make things grow, and who always stand in the front. In organ systems, those kind of qualities are stored in the wood organs, which are liver and gallbladder, but especially in the gallbladder. So we can say if the Daily Master is yang wood, those people's personality is formed based on the yang wood organ. And it is possible for those people to have the tendency towards wood yang excess or wood indeficiency because they keep using wood energy. However, we need to figure out how much source the Daily Master has in the chart, which can be said how much root and support or how much strength this Jia wood has. To determine how much source, root, support, and the strength of the daily master, now we need the second factor, the dominant energy. Dominant energy is the second most important factor to read Bazi chart. I said the daily master takes about 50% of the personality, and we can say the rest 50% can be explained based on the relationship between the daily master and the other 7 characters. The daily master is true myself, and the other characters can be described as the microcosm of the daily master's environment, including family relationship, friendships, and social relationships. And those environments among the daily master and others becomes huge parts in the formation of one's being. We can determine the relationship between daily master and the environment by holistic 5-element cycle. To visualize Bazi chart, I usually put the daily master in the center and put the rest of the chart into 5-element cycle. And the size of the 5-element circle indicates the strength of each element. The ideal and the healthiest environment might have all 5 elements which are equally powered and positioned, making ultimate balance and harmony in the chart. However, we are not a perfect being for some reasons. Every person must have some different degrees of partiality, which means everyone's not perfectly balanced. And those partial energy keeps drawing people into certain directions, which can cause our personality imbalance, our relationship imbalance, and in health, it can cause imbalance of the organ systems. However, at the same time, those partialities create us as unique individuals, which we can differentiate ourselves from others. So I call those partialities of the environment in the Bazi chart as the dominant energy. Let's look at some examples. If someone's chart looks like this, and of course I'm really exaggerating the examples for this video. Here the daily master is Jia wood, which is yang wood, and there are a lot of wood in the chart. So in this picture, I put Jia wood as a center and make the wood circle much bigger than other elements like this. So we can compare the partialities among 5 elements. So in this chart, the dominant energy also becomes wood. And in the classics, this kind of chart is called as an exuberant wood. It is considered as a strong chart because the daily master, the wood, becomes stronger by too much wood energy. How about this? It looks like really burning, right? You can imagine the wood in the wildfire. So with the same daily master, Jia wood, now fire is much stronger than other elements. So the dominant energy becomes fire. And in the classics, it is called as the burnt wood. And it's considered as a weak chart. This is an obvious case for the example of wood-yang excess with wood-yin deficiency, because this wood keeps burning itself and draining the energy by generating cycle to generate something, to create something, and to keep expanding itself with lack of source. So this kind of person is not retreating easily. Now this chart has strong earth. So you can imagine there's only one wood in the mountain. Does it look pretty? It looks like lonely for me. So the daily master is same, Jia wood, and dominant energy here becomes earth. In the classics, this chart is called as a broken wood. Of course, it is considered as a weak chart. In controlling cycle, the wood is supposed to control the earth. However, if the earth is too strong, this wood can't really root down into one place. Instead, the earth will insult this wood. You can think about landslide in the mountain. In the organ systems, we can say there are too much dampness in the form of too much fats and cholesterols, for example, which becomes fatty liver or gallstones. In next chart, the daily master is still Jia wood, and there are a lot of metal energy. So the dominant energy becomes metal. Sure, this is one of the weakest chart. And in classics, it is called as the cut wood, which means too much controlling energy by metal. So this kind of person tends to be suppressed and depressed or easy to get nervous. In organ system, we can focus on the relation between wood organs and metal organs, such as lung and large intestine. Now we have too much water in the chart. Daily master is still Jia wood, and the dominant energy becomes water. It is generating cycle, but there are too much generation, so the wood cannot take the water as a vital force or nourishment anymore because it is like flooding water. In the classics, this chart is called as drifted wood or floated wood. But the wood is generated by mother, it is still considered as a strong chart. This is the case that too much mother's care or love is not helping with one's own growth. In the organ system, this is an example of wood in excess with wood yang deficiency, which too much retreating is happening. Therefore, depending on the dominant energy, wood can be differentiated by 5 different types. In my doctoral capstone project, I called it as 5 archetypes of the wood. Of course, all these archetypes can be mixed into different portions, creating a little more complicated chart. However, if you try to follow the generating cycle and the controlling cycle of the 5 elements, you will end up with the strongest element in the chart, which is the dominant energy. So guys, try to find what is daily master and what is dominant energy in your chart. And if you have a question, please comment to this video, or you can shoot me an email to drjkemedicine@gmail.com. In next video, we will discuss about Yongshin, the most important factor in reading Bazi. Thank you for watching this video. This was Dr. Jaden, and I will see you again. Bye.